You stupid bitch. Yeah, you're a stupid bitch. You stupid bitch. Welcome to the season 6 finale of Stupid Bitches Say What, the Aussie podcast about everything and nothing, always with wine, and your hosts, Skyly Collett and Sean Hipkins.
That's him. This week, it's What's the Haps, the episode where we discuss the topics that piqued our interest over the last 4 weeks. Listen in as we cover the Screen Actors Guild on strike, US Congress, the existence of aliens. Oh my God, I can't wait. Twitter's rebrand, AI-powered walking shoes, washing chicken, relaxing with true crime, Sinead O'Connor, and rest in peace, Sinead O'Connor, love you.
RIP.
And the British fellow who died attempting a 21 cocktail challenge. Oh my God, I can't wait for that either. Buckle up, bitches. It's our final episode for season 6, and it's about to get happening.
Woo!
What are you drinking, Sean Bino?
Well, whilst it is still dry July for me, I thought I could not end the season without a little celebratory bottle of bubbles. And this is Hardy's Zero Sparkling, alcohol-free, low sugar, new, great taste. Look, I'll be the judge of this new great taste.
And it's going to taste like your asshole.
Ooh, I can't wait. So Hardy's was established in 1853, so they've had plenty of time to fucking sort this shit out. There is no year. There is no great variety associated to it.
I've yet to taste any type of unalcoholic beverage that I've enjoyed.
So I've used, even though it's not a champagne glass, I thought I'd use our special StupidBSayWhat merch glass that we can't buy, these gifts that were given to us. And let's go.
Gifted people. It's one of a kind. I know what you're going to say.
Oh, it's not terrible.
Apple juice?
It's like apple cider, yeah. Non-alcoholic.
It's like some candy from the candy shop.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Candy water.
I'll let you lick the lollipop. Hey, ho. Yeah, it's not terrible. It's okay. If you want to drink something fancy and you're not drinking any alcohol,
people. You'll be getting into
give
those.
This a go.
When can you actually drink on Tuesday night?
Tuesday. And yeah, Vinny and I, we're going out for a big session after work on Friday, the 4th of August. But I dare say I'm probably going to pop a bottle of red and just fucking have a glass on
I bet you are.
Tuesday. All right. And what, pray tell, are you drinking, you stupid fucking bitch? Skyly Collett, co-host of Stupid Bitches Say What, the Aussie podcast about everything and nothing.
Who's also 50% drunk. 100% more drunker than Sean.
Yes.
So I'm drinking a 2 pairs 2022 Grenache from McLaren Vale. I'm drinking it in my little wine glass that has my name on it, Sky, that my boss got me. My old job many moons ago. Well, actually 2 jobs ago. Gotta turn through some jobs, don't I?
And that was just last year.
I know, right? But it is a bottle of red, and our listeners will love to know this, but my 18 bottle case that I brought about 3 weeks ago, this is the last bottle in it, because Tyler and I have collectively drunk them all in a very short space of time. We like our wine, people. Okay, we like it.
No judgment. Hashtag second bottle.
But I have to say that I got about 4 bottles of red in that case. And I've always been more of a whitey, but I do love my red, especially in winter. But I've really struggled with the red.
Really? What type of reds?
Even the Sangiovese.
Oh.
Like it took me probably a good glass or 2 to really get into it. And by then I was too pissed to notice.
Yeah.
And I got 2 of those.
Well, switching from white to red can have that
effect. I think I've just ruined myself too much on the whites. But I have to say, this Grenache, I had 2 very small glasses of it on Wednesday evening, a school night. Listeners, please. Had to go to work the next day. I'd already also drunken a bottle of white before that. But the Grenache is a lot lighter. I haven't had a sip yet, but when I did drink, I was like, this is a bit more pleasant because it's a bit more lighter. But let me have a little sip.
I do like a Grenache.
Oh, because I've been drinking white. Oh,
yeah. You got to give it a couple. Next one, do a swirl around your mouth.
Kick you in the throat, that one.
Oh, God, I missed that.
But yes, I'll push through. It's much lighter to the heavier reds. And then I drank 2 bottles of the Sangiovese, and also Tyler helped me drink those.
So you were having trouble getting through the reds, weren't you, Charles?
And then we had a Shiraz, and I wanted to save the Grenache specifically for the podcast because I haven't really drunken any. Out of those 18 bottles, I got them before our last recording, that week of, I think. They came just after, so I have drunken them all and none of them on the podcast, except for this last bottle.
Well, thank you for saving that for her. The community thanks you.
Yes, I'm sure they do. Thanks, listeners, for bearing with me. I'm sorry I couldn't drink all 18 bottles on air.
Live.
And so how's your week been, Stupid Bitch?
Week's been good. So as we've established, and I've whined on about, dry July.
Wow.
You got some cheese for that wine. Dry July is coming to an end, thankfully. I do want to do a quick shout out. Vinny and I have raised over $1,000 towards cancer research through the Dry July Foundation, which is amazing.
Big clap for cancer research, isn't it?
Yes, it is, which is amazing. And so a special shout out to all of our donators for their support. Yes, including you, please, Stupid Bitch. Totes appreciate it.
Even though I've hated every moment of you being dry, and I hate you when you're sober. Unless we're both sober together and watching movies when we're hungover.
Yeah, it just doesn't work, does it?
No, we're not non-drinking people. Sorry,
Agreed.
liver.
Yes, that's about it. No, agreed. But to be honest, I haven't found it really relatively that hard. I'm glad it's coming to an end. It hasn't. I
found it harder.
We haven't been sitting there going, I want a drink. It's had its moments, of course. Don't get me wrong. We miss having a drink when you just want to. You know, it's like having those shackles on you. Podcasting, for instance, I've missed drinking during podcasting, or even just finishing work on a Friday and having a glass or two of red while watching a movie. And you know, when you see somebody having a glass of wine in a movie, you're like, oh, I'm going to get myself one of those. That has been a bit tough. And yes, I do realize I had a golden ticket for Tyler's birthday last weekend, which was hard.
A week ago. Less than a week ago, 6 days ago, actually.
But I had gone 3 weekends prior to that dry, and I got another one to go this weekend.
Well, have a thought for me who'd gone 3 weeks watching you be dry.
It has been extremely tough on Sky. But yeah, look, we both know as well, there was no way I was not drinking at Tyler's birthday party this year after going dry last year. So I had to do it for the cause.
And what did you also promise at Tyler's birthday this year? What did you promise about next birthday for him?
Oh, we're both going to be drinking. Oh, look, we're not going to do dry July for another 5 years, at least, I would say. Ever again.
Don't you also do dry February too, or some other fucking dumb month?
We did that a while ago, and that was only because there was 28 days in February, and I don't know if we made it. I think we got halfway through and we're like, we like to drink. Let's just have a drink.
I know Vinny didn't, because I was visiting from the Central Coast, remember?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And you'd broken the night before, and you were driving on the Saturday, and we hooked up, right. And Vinny got maggot, and you and I were both driving. Because you drank the night before.
You couldn't even drink either. Yeah,
no, that's right. And I had my dad's truck.
You had to be super careful.
I was like, I don't know how to drive this big beast.
I do have to say, though, that being sober has definitely made the weekends longer. And we've been active and getting out there on a Sunday, having day trips out on Saturdays too, which we've enjoyed. Special shout out to my husband, Vinny, who has been completely dry all of July. And he actually will be dry for 40 days by the time we get to the 4th of August. It is something I'd like to continue and just having maybe 3 sessions a month, and maybe having 1 weekend clean, or going out for a dinner and just having a couple of drinks. Because we found it has been. I know, not and then getting shit faced the next night. I mean, But yeah. Speaking of booze, we did buy another wine rack to complement our other wine rack. So now we've got a full set, and I filled it up with the naked wine delivery. But the other thing I wanted to say, so I went into Good Pair Days, and because I was, I get their monthly subscription, and then it said to me, you've got this 1,000 reward points that you can spend, and you get
So
reward
I can't drink the red
points.
anymore. I'll go back to the white.
Fair enough. You get reward points if you rate their bottles of wine that they've sent you. So I thought I'll go through, and I just started rating about 2 years maybe worth of fucking wine deliveries I had. There's 4 each time. I was just doing 3 points, 4 stars, 5 stars, 1 star, and one of them got a 1 star. It was a fucking bubbly red. And so I ended up with thousands of points that you can then put towards extra bottles of wine and your next delivery. Nice. So our next delivery, usually we just get 4 a month. I think I've got about 10 coming. And then they contacted me saying, we saw you gave one of our bottles a 1 star. We hate that. What can we do to correct it? Can we give you another bottle that matches your taste palette?
Yeah,
blah, blah,
you
blah.
can.
I was like, damn straight. I think I'm going to make a few 1 stars moving forward. So I'm looking forward to getting that. That should actually hopefully fill our rack up.
Until Skazi comes to visit.
And then we attack the rack.
Attack the rack.
So speaking of keeping, so I was going to say, so we hope for a little bit of a life change after Dry July. We'll keep you posted on how that goes. But speaking of keeping us posted, how's your walk through Transylvania been, please?
Look, I did log on to the app this morning, actually, out of sheer boredom, for the first time in about 2 weeks, and I am 27% through my walk, compared to where I should be 17% by now.
That's excellent.
Based on my prediction. So I'm way ahead.
Yeah.
But I haven't really checked in to see all the places. I had a bunch of postcards for different cities I've walked through.
Haven't had a look at them yet.
Yeah, I didn't have time this morning. I just went, I've been through that city. I've been through that city. Oh,
it would lose its appeal, I guess. But that's excellent. Over a quarter of the way done. I was predicting that in July next year, you're going to update the podcast with how you got your badge.
Well, look, I should be there before Christmas, I think. Yeah, so cool. That's the projected. It was like 300 and something kilometers, I believe.
Yeah, very good. Well done, stupid bitch.
Yeah.
So how's your week been after my monologue?
My week has been good. I want to reflect on something that happened to me a couple of weeks ago, though, because we've had a little bit of a, sabbatical of podcasts over the last couple of weeks because we've had things on. So I went to a day spa, and it's the Harbour Day Spa. I don't know if you've heard of it. So it used to be on the Raby Bay Harbour down at Cleveland. Right. And then unbeknownst to me, I asked Tyler to get me a voucher for my birthday this year, I think, or last year. Not realizing they relocated and there was no water views anymore.
Where is it now?
So it's in Cleveland still, near the back of the markets, where the markets are in Cleveland.
Okay.
But even though Tyler got me a voucher for my birthday, my mum had a voucher that she got for her 60th birthday, which was 3 years ago, and then was extended because of the COVID situation. So she had this voucher and she said, oh, look, they're only open Monday to Saturday, but my mum works Tuesday to Saturday. So she can only go on a Sunday or a Monday. And me and my sister are always working on Monday. So she was like, look, I'm never going to use it. It's about to expire. I'm going to give it to you. So I had 2 vouchers, right? I had mum's voucher, which was worth quite a bit of cash. And then I had my vouchers, which I've still got. So I decided to use mum's, and I rang them up and I said, oh, look, I'm using my mum's voucher. It's due to expire really soon. They're like, oh, that's a really old package. But we'll still adhere to it. No dramas, come in. Cool. So anyway, so I went in, I think it was about 2 Fridays ago. And I hadn't been to a day spa. I used to do it with my friend a lot years ago. And we used to, splurge on ourselves and go to a day spa and get massages and the full pamper treatment. But I hadn't done it in a really long time. And so I went, and I'm going to tell you, this pamper treatment was beyond anything.
Oh, really?
So you go in and they take you to a little, darkened room, candles and stuff like that. And you get into a robe, and they have herbal tea and things like that. And then you get the person who's going to treat you, they come out. they introduce themselves and they take you into the little room, and then you get in there and you're full naked. You keep your undies on, but the rest of you's naked.
Okay.
You take off your
robe. Titties out or?
Yeah, titties out, just undies on. Wow. So you take your robe off. They're not in there while you take your robe off, and then you get on the bed with the hole where you put your face in.
Yeah.
And then you put the sheet over the top of you, and then the chick comes in, and then she's going to do everything, right? Anyway, so it was a leg massage. It was a foot spa thing where they put little booties on you with paraffin wax in. And then it was a head massage, and it's a little bit daunting. And this young girl who did it, she was probably lucky to be 20, 22 at most, right? So it's a bit daunting. She's super skinny, super attractive, and here's me and my 43-year-old body.
Fucking your tits around her.
I did have to position those bad boys quite a bit to get my head comfortably in the thing while I'm laying on my stomach. Anyway, so I get in there, and they've got the hot stones that are literally boiling when they touch your skin, to the point where you think you're going to cry out because it's so hot, but then they just move them just in time before it's too unbearable.
Yeah.
And then, so they massage both of so pretty much from my, hips down, still got my undies on, right? Put these paraffin booties on me, and I was in the massage room for probably about an hour and 20 minutes. So she probably did the paraffin booties and the feet massage was probably about 20 minutes. Each leg was about 20 minutes. And then the head massage was 20 minutes, right?
Yeah.
It was the most insane experience. At first I was a little bit apprehensive. I was like, oh, she's going to see me naked. She's going to lift up the sheet and massage my butt and everything like that. But once she started, I was like, oh my God, to the point where when she finished and she was like, now I'm just going to leave the room and, just get dressed and blah, blah, blah. Do you want a drink? I've got tea, coffee, I've got champagne. I was like, I'll have a champagne. Thank you very much. But I was literally and it was about probably 3:00 in the afternoon. I was just about to say, do you have any more appointments? What if I can pay for another session?
Slip her at 20 and go, finish me off.
But I was so insanely relaxed. So I get dressed and take your time as much as you need. I've had all this wax and oils all over me. I'm in the most perfect level of relaxation. I come out, there's a glass of champagne, there's a glass of water, a little chocolate, and then part of the package was, because they gave me the head massage with all the oils, that I'd go into their salon part and they'd give me a full hair wash and blow dry afterwards, right? So I come out and there was just all these chicks, and they take me up to this fancy thing, way better than the normal hairdresser, right? I'm in this thing with my head, and they've got the water on me, and they're massaging my head while they're washing my hair.
Did you just float out?
I was in heaven. I was like, this is how the Kardashians live. I want to do this every single fucking day. And then I come out, and then they blow dried my hair and I actually just got my hair done a couple of days before. So they blow dried my hair and put it in curls exactly the way that I wanted. Gave me another glass of champagne while I was sat there getting my hair done. It was fucking absolute bliss.
And you were just by yourself too.
And I was just by myself. And the best part is I've got another voucher.
To do it all again.
Sitting there just waiting. So if you've never gone for, so my mum and my sister, because my mum tried to give it to my sister, but she's like, oh, I feel really weird about people touching my body. And I'm like, I get that. It is a little bit weird at first, but you've just got to get past that and just enjoy it. And the whole time I was there, I was like, Tyler would fucking love this if he was just laid there
getting his beard oiled and everything.
Could you imagine him? He wouldn't even be able to get up. He'd get up someone needs to come pick me up. I can't drive. I'm too relaxed.
So how long was it from when you went in to when you walked out?
Oh, probably about 2 hours, 2.5 hours maybe. See,
I just would be really concerned that I'm just going to get bored and be like, okay, I'm done.
This place was so during the massage, I didn't want it to end. And that probably went for about an hour and a half. So the whole hair thing went for probably about 40 minutes to an hour or so. But they were just so lovely. It was like they didn't even want me to leave. When I left, they're like, oh, you're ready to go. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Come back and see us. It was the best blow dry I've ever had. It was just next level. I felt like I was a super rich bitch just going in there, just living my life, I don't work because I had a day off. I don't work.
This is what it could
every
be.
day.
Share, like, and subscribe, everybody.
It was absolute fucking heaven. and I was addicted, and I just can't wait to book in my next one.
Oh,
But then
wow.
after that, I feel like I'm just going to have to do it like every couple of months.
Yeah. Start budgeting for it, like me and our Botox.
Baby, if you're listening, that's going to be part of the budget.
I love you. All right. Well, let's get into our episode. And I think you're first cab off the rank.
Oh, am I? Okay. Well, I'm going to jump into then. Let me just get my notes up. I'm just going to jump into. I'm going to go with it. I'm just going to do the whole 2023 actors and writers strike because it's a bit more serious than some of my other subjects, and I want to get it out of the way.
Fair enough. My first one's a bit of my biggest one too.
Are you going to do the aliens first?
Yeah.
Yes, I can't wait to hear about the aliens. Okay, so if you don't know about the writer's strike, there was a writer's strike. What was it? 2008 was the last writer's strike?
I think so, yeah. Yep.
Which basically brought to a halt a lot of our favorite TV shows and actually ended up in a lot of them getting axed because actors went on strike, writers went on strike.
That was too long. And sometimes some of it was mid-season as well.
Yes.
Hashtag
exactly.
pushing daisies.
And this is what's happening at the moment. So, and I'll get to the part where all the shows that, you know, are upcoming have been halted completely and they don't know what's going to happen with them. But the SAG, is the Screen Actors Guild. So it's a combined effort, right? So it's the actors and the writers together. But I'm just going to give you a little bit of a summary about who they are. But I want to preface it by saying, do you want to know who the president of the SAG is?
Oh, okay. So it's someone big.
Mm-hmm.
Is it an actor?
Yeah.
Is it a woman?
Yes.
Is it Meryl Streep?
No.
Damn.
You're never going to guess it.
Oh, well, give me a clue then.
That's how she became the nanny.
I was going to, it's so bizarre. I had Fran Drescher in my head as well.
It's Fran Drescher.
When you said
I love
you're
Fran
never going to
Drescher.
get it. Yeah. She was working in a bridal shop in Flushing, Queens.
So now, what is the SAG, I hear you ask?
What is the SAG?
SAG stands for the Screen Actors Guild. It is a labour union representing actors, performers, and media professionals in the entertainment industry in the United States. The full name of the union is now SAG-AFTRA, following a merger with the American Federation of Television and Radio Activists, AFTRA, in 2012. So little old Fran Drescher is the head of that.
Wow.
It was originally founded in 1993 as a Screen Actors Guild to protect the rights and interests of actors working in the film industry. AFTRA, on the other hand, represented a broader spectrum of media professionals, including radio and television performers. Over the years, the lines between film, television, and other forms of media blurred, leading to the increased collaboration, and shared interests between the two unions. After decades of cooperation and negotiation, SAG and AFTRA merged in 2012, a unified labour union representing a wide range of professionals in the entertainment and media industries. The union negotiates and enforces contracts for its members, ensuring fair wages, working conditions, benefits, and protection of intellectual property rights. So SAG-AFTRA represents actors, voice actors, broadcasters, news actors, stunt performers, singers, dancers, and other media professionals in the US. Its membership also includes both established performers, up-and-coming talent working in those areas, and other forms of media. As a powerful labour union, SAG-AFTRA plays a significant role in shaping the working conditions and standards for those working in the entertainment industry and advocating for rights of its members. So, if you've been living under a rock, they're basically all striking at the moment because of the situation in terms of, you know, equal opportunity, their rights and conditions and standards. But the big things that are happening right now is with regards to artificial intelligence and streaming. So if you know anything about, you know, actors and how they make their money, obviously they get paid. The big ones get paid from, you know, the contracts that they make and how much they get paid for certain movies and certain movie deals with certain networks and things like that. But if you're a little bit actor or you're a child actor, you get it from royalties, right? So if you're on let's say The Nanny, you're on a TV show like The Nanny, and then you don't go to act for 10 years after that show finishes, you still get royalties every time it's played on, you know, free to air or cable TV.
Yeah.
So like your Foxtels and stuff like that, they pay you money and then you eventually get the royalties. And it's a small amount, but it depends on how popular it is and how many times it's watched. And same with movies. But now that streaming's come into it, they're not paying any of those monies anymore. They're paying like a very, 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 very small percentage, similar to how Spotify works. All their music is publicly available, but they only get like certain
0.3% or whatever.
Yeah, they get like fucking next to nothing, right? So that's one part of it. But the other part is how they're using artificial intelligence to make films now. So if you've seen any of the Star Warses, Indiana Jones is one of them, how they're able to use, digital artificial intelligence to reproduce like actors in their youth.
Yeah.
So like Harrison Ford, in Star Wars and also in Indiana Jones, they make him look young in certain scenes of new movies. He's not young anymore. They're not using old clips of him acting years ago. And obviously he's getting paid a significant amount because he's contracted to that. But their concern is, where does the line end?
Do they say because it's AI that actor actually doesn't get paid for those scenes?
Well, it hasn't got to that point now, but now they're concerned that,
that it will.
Extras in the background and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they're going to be able to use AI to actually
fill up an audience.
Exactly. Yeah. So they're not going to need as many people, and the money's not going to be, forthcoming. These people have to make a living. Yeah. Like, you've got your Brad Pitts and, all those ones, and your Adam Sandlers who are just so popular that they're making a killing and they're just begging for them to be on their networks. Or, Adam Sandler just signed some billion dollar deal with Netflix, and they have the rights to all these movies now for the next 5 or 10 years or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But if you're smaller down the chain, you don't get that. So you don't get the money from the royalties because they're streaming at such a small rate. And also they're concerned about what AI is going to do to the industry. So, genuine concerns. But they've all started protesting and striking. And as you probably would have read at the Barbie premiere, they all walked out. So part of what the union's doing is saying, like, you can't promote the movies and stuff like that. If you're one of us, you have to make a stand as well. So it stops them from promoting. So the Barbie movie and what's the Oppenheimer?
Yeah.
The big one.
Yeah.
So many of the actors walked out of the premiere, like they came and did a photo shoot at the beginning and then they took off because they were like, we can't be here. And they also are totally like on board with the strike action and stuff like that.
Which would be so hard for them, but they've got to make that stand and start protecting their interests.
Exactly. And protecting their industry. Protecting other people, like up and coming artists, and and it's definitely way more complicated than that, than how I've summarized it. But it's huge because it means so many of our shows.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm thinking Stranger Things. Is it 5?
Stranger Things actually has been put on hold. So the first ones to be hit was all the late night shows. So Jimmy Fallon, what's the other Jimmy? Whatever his name is, Saturday Night Live. So now instead of so they were supposed to have, so Pete Davidson was supposed to host Saturday Night Live last week or this week. And instead, because they're all on strike, now they're just playing reruns. So old reruns of Saturday Night Live. So all the actors who were scheduled to appear to finalize the last season, because there's like, I don't know, a couple of episodes left for the end of the season,
have had to say no.
Yeah, they're on strike. So it means that they're showing reruns, and the same with Jimmy Fallon and all those late night talk shows. But now it's come to stuff in production like Handmaid's Tale's been pushed out.
Oh, God.
The second season of 1923, they don't even have a start date. Trucks are showing up to production to, start setting up equipment and stuff like that. They're being turned away.
Wow.
So it's like, whilst 2008 was massive, they reckon this one's going to be bigger.
Well, this is movies. It's not just writers.
Yes. Yeah. And all the production companies who are making the most money out of anything are like, this is shit. This is worse than COVID. You're ruining livelihoods. It's not just the actors. Like, it's the people who work behind the scenes. And
start paying people, cunts.
Yeah, it's like anything, right? But I find it incredibly fascinating because I love seeing my celebrities that I follow on Instagram striking and, having their picket signs, walking around going, we will not, we need better conditions, yada, yada, yada.
Well, sometime in the future, someone who's doing a podcast on activism will probably reference this.
We need to make sure we have a contract for our royalties, plus.
Yeah, exactly. That was our idea.
But yeah, like, so the new Game of Thrones has been halted. All the Star Wars
House of Dragon.
films,
Yeah.
all the Avengers films have been halted. Everything's halted. There was heaps of other shows like Euphoria, I think.
Yeah. And that's what they'd be saying. Like, now the actors are like, don't be scabs to the people who they'll try and get to just fill. But you can't fill if all the big names are gone.
And now they're just bringing in people as well who are waiting for their chance, who've never acted before, and trying to get them in to be like, hey, just work in these, positions so that we can try to keep the industry growing. But the industry is pretty much just stalled.
Yeah. Good. I hope it actually changes some stuff for them. Although this could be our opportunity to get our big break on the screen.
I know, right? Totally on the big screen. Yes, please. Yes, please. Yeah. But I find it incredibly fascinating. Like, I love when a group of people band together for equality and, just standards, just what they deserve to get. It's just like, just give them what they want. Apparently there's been heaps of discussions, but they believe that the strike will last until at least October, because the other side's just not giving in at all.
Yeah, and they need to.
Not listening, because they're making, millions and millions of dollars every day, even with it all like stalled, because they're getting all the streaming income as well from selling the shows off to the streaming companies. And so it's a big deal. They are going to
have to make new content soon.
What people are going to do if there's no new shows?
I know. Well, look, I mean, we do watch a lot of reruns anyway.
I'm back on Gilmore Girls. Todd's like, I can't believe you watch this. And I was like, look,
it's my happy place.
I have to have faults, right? I can't be perfect all the time.
It's your happy place.
Over to you, stupid bitch. Tell me about the aliens. I'm dying to hear.
Well, look, so I originally had a long list of topics that I wanted to chat about this app, but I've had to park a couple because of some info I read about just this week, which has also brought a topic that I had set aside for a potential conspiracy theory episode that I wanted to do, which I was going to suggest for season 7.
And I'm just going to butt in here because you're going to just totally roast me on my whole I don't believe in aliens stance.
I know. Well, I do have that as a thing. It was... so I was going to say for this other topic, part of the topic for a conspiracy theory episode, but the link between the two articles is just too good for me to put on hold. Are you ready? And
I've perused the smallest bit. I know some headlines. At best, I know the memes, which we'll get to.
I don't have the memes, so that's good that you've got that.
But yes, I can't wait. Go.
But you know how much I love this shit. So, noting for our dear listeners, we record well in advance of our episodes, releasing our episodes, #Curse of Season 4. So this may seem like old news now, but it isn't as we record the episode. On Wednesday, the 26th of July, 2023.
Mark it in your calendars, please. It's a moment in history.
Today is the 28th. Over 2.5 hours, a subcommittee made up of Democratic and Republican representatives heard from and questioned 3 top-ranking military officials who were under oath to tell the truth. 2 of the officials have claimed to have first-hand experience with extraterrestrial technology, and the third, David Grush, sparked the recent interest in aliens through whistleblower claims of a secret air quote, multi-decade UAP, which is the new word for UFOs and means unclassified aerial phenomena.
Apparently he's been trying to whistle bro for a long time as well, and no one would listen to him. Whistle bro, I said.
You did, bro. So through claims of a secret multi-decade UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program. The UAP issue has gained widespread attention from Congress and the public in recent years with the release of several video recordings of the encounters, which typically show seemingly nondescript objects moving through the air at very high speeds with no apparent method of propulsion, which we covered in our UFO episode.
Mulder and Scully, please, is the case for you.
The Pentagon's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, which Congress established last year to investigate the incidents, has investigated roughly 800 reports of UAP as of May. While military officials have said most cases have innocuous origins, many others remain unexplained. lawmakers say the military knows more about the objects that it has disclosed to Congress. So the hearing
This is
wasn't
how the apocalypse starts.
Oh, you're going to love what I've got to tie this in with. So the hearing wasn't about proving aliens exist. It was actually about government transparency and the fact that if the government thinks that they might exist, it should be sharing that knowledge with the US Congress. And the government has been covering it up, which it can't do with Congress, apparently. Three big things that came out about it. A US intelligence official swore under oath that the Pentagon is in possession of alien vehicles and non-human bodies. And by non-human bodies, we can assume they don't mean camels. The UFOs looked like black cubes in clear spheres and tic tacs, which I think is in reference to those videos that they released. One of the guys said that one of the objects was stationary in Category 4 hurricane winds, wasn't moving at all.
Why haven't they tried a retrieval mission yet? Like, why haven't they declared war on us if we've been holding their bodies in their spaceships all this time?
I would say that, I don't know, but in a perfect,
they're just the rookies that got caught. They got sent out.
Well, I think as well, once evolution happens to a form of that type of power, that war and total control isn't actually a thing. Like when you look at our evolution through back in the days where it was everyone was fighting everyone and all that shit, you know what I mean? Like crusades and fucking, like it's
the universe according to Sean Beano Hipkins, plus
mark it down. Like it becomes like there's no point to it. So that, and they know that, you know what I mean?
Why haven't they taken us over?
Because that's what I'm saying. I think that the evolution, when you get to that sort of higher level of being,
we're like ants to them.
Pretty much. And it's not about taking over. It's about just living and blah, 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 and being good. So, you know, like it's not tribes fighting tribes.
Looking at it.
That's what I think anyway, but I could be very wrong.
Independence Day.
And the third point was people were harmed in a huge international cover-up dating back to the 30s. And the guy was questioned if he knows of anyone being murdered. And he replied saying, I directed people with that knowledge to the appropriate authorities. So it's all very sketchy. And it's funny because when they started releasing the videos, I remember thinking it's like they're slowly preparing us for the big truth that we have encountered alien existence for many years, but they are now just thinking that the world is actually ready and able to comprehend and accept it. Like AI is a thing now, and we all have super duper technology in the palm of our hands with fucking iPhones and whatnot. So it's not such a far-fetched idea.
They're just laughing at us up there. They're just like, guys, please.
Well, I mean, the government are preparing us by releasing these little videos that, yeah, we've known about this, but here's this stuff. Because you imagine if it came out in the 30s, where people were fucking housewives just fucking trying to fight to vote, and all of a sudden there's aliens, they'd be like, what the fuck? It would turn the world into chaos, you know? So now I think that's sort of, hey guys, just FYI, there might be something out there.
But what about all those people who got hushed up?
What about
They've been told that they're crazy for all these years.
Well, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Those poor buggers.
Yeah. So from what it seems,
I was abducted by an alien life form and nobody believes me.
My anus. So from what it seems, it's like
Scully had an alien baby, plus.
She did. It all seems like it's going to come to light pretty soon about alien encounters and what the truth really is. Like the world is ready for that next step of expansion of life, I think. But what that means and what it brings, I think, is pretty terrific and scary in itself. And it brings us so many questions. Will we end up having like a world leader, for example, if we end up becoming like Earth as a thing?
Well, that's
what happens
scary.
next? Will Earth peoples travel to these new places? Some of the memes that you were talking about alien sex, it's like, oh my God, yeah. Will they have cross-species intercourse, and will it result in a light? No, what do they call a mule? A donkey and a horse gives a mule that can't reproduce. You know what I mean? What can happen?
Is that what they call it?
Yeah, that's a mule. That's why it's a mule. And
but a mule's a real thing.
Yeah, but it can't reproduce. A mule is an offspring of a donkey and a horse. And it's like a liger, I think it's called. When a tiger and a lion have sex, they have a liger, but it doesn't have the reproductive organs.
I never knew that. Are you saying that mules can't reproduce? They can't have baby mules?
Yeah, let me just see. So a donkey and a horse child.
mind is already blown so massively. If I find out that mules can't have babies, I'm just not even gonna know.
The mule is a domestic equine hybrid between a donkey and a horse. It's the offspring of a male donkey and a female horse. The horse and donkey are different species with different numbers of chromosomes. Can mules reproduce?
ChatGPT.
Mules are usually infertile for this reason. Pregnancy is rare, but can occasionally occur, as well as through embryo transfer. So yeah, usually it's like no, because the difference in chromosomes, and it's like nature saying you can't do that. So, or when it happens, is it just like when you come out of the closet and you think, oh my God, big parties, streamers, celebrations, rah, 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 is going to happen, but life just continues the same. You're like, oh, like that's the shit I think about. Is it going to be, oh yeah, there's aliens?
Seems like that's pretty much what's happening right now, right?
Maybe not, maybe to you, but not to me. But the reason why I'm bringing this up now, beside it being a current affair, is an article I read about a week ago about the Blue Beam Project. Have you heard of that?
Mm-mm.
Neither had I until I read it, and it was fascinating. So it's a conspiracy theory, and this is what it's about. It's pretty wild. It's a theory that at some point in the near future, global elites will use hidden and superior technology to simulate an extraterrestrial invasion on Earth in order to assert their dominance and conquer the world.
X-Files plus.
When the staged extraterrestrial begins, a false messiah will emerge amidst the chaos in each country, and this individual will have the power to protect all the people and halt the invasion. This false messiah will then become the new world order of religion, ultimately uniting the world under one religious leader, the Antichrist, as described in the apocalypse. The increased presence of UFOs in recent years is seen as a sign that global elites are training to perfect, to be flawless and be flawlessly prepared for the final invasion. The growing development of technology such as AI and 5G is believed to be perfecting the simulated invasion.
Whoa.
I know, full of crazy, hey? And that's what they say as well. So this blue beam thing's been around since the 90s. And now it's like they're starting to drop these things. It's like, is this happening? And 5G and AI intelligence and crazy, hey?
I've no words.
It's pretty wild. I know.
Bring on the apocalypse.
That's what I mean. Like, this is what they're trying to, it could be. We just have to go, it's not real. It's not real. It's not real.
You want it to be real, though. You're like, yes.
Oh, I wouldn't mind the alien thing being real, but as long as it's a fucking peaceful encounter.
Well, all the memes that I'm seeing on Instagram is basically like having sex with an alien. So I feel like there's something else I'm missing. I maybe need to delve into that a little bit more, because what you're saying is like alien life is, confirmed, allegedly.
Well, that's what they're saying, that they've got alien vehicles. The UN, the Pentagon has actual alien vehicles.
And also bodies, yeah.
And body material. And that's what they would say about the, the technological boom that we've had since the 80s or 70s. They think that's what they've had, some alien stuff where they've reversed engineered it and been able to develop all this stuff, or they're in communication with the aliens who are bringing this technology. Because it's been 2,000 years and then all of a sudden, but also I think it could be just because the population doubled into fucking billions of people, and now we've got a lot more great minds than we did in fucking the year 100 AD. You know what I mean?
You're frothing it, aren't you?
I am. I'm like, give me more. What's going on? And to think that Donald Trump might have this information when he got into power, or do you reckon they were like, we're not telling that cunt this?
Yeah.
No, it's all a conspiracy.
He's on a needs to know basis.
Yeah, it's all a conspiracy.
I think he's on a needs to know basis the whole time, right?
Yeah. So yeah, that's that one.
Whoa, I'm totally intrigued, but yeah, I'm still skeptical.
Ghosts? Yes.
I can't help it. It's just not my thing. Okay. Well, then, okay. So if this is really happening, Elon Musk is going to be totally into it, right? He's like the space guy. Did you know he's the richest man in the world?
Is he? That doesn't surprise me.
I was shocked. I was like, what the fuck? I also went into an Elon Musk hole the other day
Can't stand him.
because oh yeah, I know. I can't stand him either.
As much as I'd love a Tesla, I'm not buying one because it's here.
So I get most of my information from Instagram, right? That's my thing. I'm always on Instagram and I follow so many celebrities, and then I see some things, some tidbits that they post, and then it like, you know, encouraged me to look into things more. And I saw an actress that I follow. She was pointing to the X. So, okay. So, listeners, if you don't already know, Twitter's been rebranded. I'm not a Twitter person. I've never really tweeted.
Yeah.
I don't really get it. I don't like following it. Tyler follows it for basketball. I still don't really get it. I don't understand why it's so relevant and everyone loves it so much because I've never been able to.
And now we have Threads.
Yeah, I don't really understand how Threads works either. It's because I'm probably old and I just don't really get a lot of
Threads is Mark Zuckerberg's Twitter, basically.
Yeah, it's going off too. He's making so much money off it, apparently, like it's killing it. I didn't even understand what it is, but anyway. So then apparently Twitter's losing a lot of money and a lot of like business opportunities as well.
Good.
But from the whole rebrand and how I've interpreted it is that he's trying to make it like Facebook, like pay apps in it, business ads and stuff like that. Exactly how Facebook is now. Like it's pay apps. You log into everything, log in with Facebook, you know, pay through Facebook. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you do all those. And that's what he's trying to do with Twitter. But then he's rebranded it to just X. And then there was all these celebrities like going, what the fuck is this? Like, is this an X? Like, is this a man thing? You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What the fuck? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But then he's got the kid that's called X, and then the other kid's called something weird that has an
like
X
a
in it
number
as well.
or something.
Yeah,
as well,
it's like,
it?
And remember they weren't allowed to legally call the kid that, and they got in trouble for it because it was, you know, they used characters that weren't in the English language and stuff like, or in any language.
Oh, what the fuck? Yeah.
Imagine how warped their family
like when
home
Prince
life
became
is.
the sign. Yeah, it's just like, come on.
So he's like 6 kids anyway before he has those kids, 6 or 4, one of those. Before he's had the new kids with Grimes, but they're not together anymore. I actually used to kind of like some of Grimes's music. Now I just think she's massively weirdo. Don't call your kid XXXYYZZ111 or whatever it is.
And don't call your kid Grimes.
Yeah. That's obviously the stage name that she's taken on. That's not her actual name. That's what she's called. It's a performance name. I don't actually know what her real name is. I used to like some of her music. She used to like collaborate with some artists back in the day, and I liked some of their songs, so therefore I liked her songs. But yeah, so Twitter's basically X, and it's like so weird. But I also didn't realize that he was the richest man ever. Like I was like, how's he so rich? But then Tesla, the space thing that he's in, all the other things that he's in, I guess, and there was lots of things that he's involved in that make him heaps of money that I didn't really recognize any type of reference to them. But yeah, that's it. That's my bit on X.
X and out.
It's not really interesting at all.
Well, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what comes out of it if he is going to be the downfall of Twitter, which I think would be fantastic.
Totes. It would be amazing.
Yeah. To just prove that it doesn't matter how much money you have, you can't just rule the world.
Considering I don't understand it anyway and think it's shit. So
yeah.
And it's not that I haven't tried. I've really tried.
Yeah, I know. It's just too much attention. It's too needy. Twitter.
And too many words and too many retweets all the time. I'm like, there's so much, like, it's like Reddit. Have you ever gotten into Reddit?
I've read a few things on Reddit.
My sister loves Reddit, loves it. Like, she gets everything from Reddit. She loves it so much. And I remember being into Reddit years ago, like I'm talking over 10 years ago when it first came out. And I used to get onto it because it wasn't as complex as it is now. Now it's so complex that I just don't get it anymore.
Yeah, it's too hard basket. I like Reddit for the AMAs. So Ask Me Anything. So they'd have like survivor contestants on there and people could just ask them questions and they'd reply to, you know, stuff about what it was like on their season or stuff, intel about other cast members and shit. So I don't mind it for some of that stuff, but yeah, it's not one of my favorite go-tos. All right, so my next one is AI powered electric shoes. Have you seen anything on this?
No, I haven't. But
So
everything's AI these days at the moment, isn't it?
It is. I just saw a little article on it and I thought, oh my God. And I saw a little video on it too, which is just fucking hilarious. It's an AI powered shoe that lets you walk at the speed of running. So basically, it's for the straight community to keep up with us gays with our ice lattes as we're walking through the streets. They're called the Moonwalkers, and these shoes are more like slip-on skates that function automatically with the help of artificial intelligence, which means that you don't need to know how to skate to use them. You just simply walk as usual and let the technology do the rest. And it looks pretty cool seeing the videos of people wearing them. And it's like, those walking escalators in airports, those flat ones. So when you stand on there and start walking and you sort of zip up, it's like that, but on the sole of your feet and these wheels.
Way more intense.
And a bit more intense, yeah. Like if you're running, excuse me, coming through, I guess it'd be like on a fucking scooter. But yeah, you need a pair stat.
Fasten me up a little bit. I've got little legs. I can't help it that I can't walk as fast as you fuckers.
You'd be fine. We'd be going to come up to the boundary like, yeah, come on, guys. So they use AI to learn your walking patterns and adapt to your gait. GAIT, whilst you learn walking in them. So to speed up, you just quicken your pace, and there's an option to apply brakes immediately, halting movement if required. So I'm just wondering, so I guess that's so you don't go flying out in front of a truck. You're like, stop. But I'm curious how the inertia would work on that. Like when your feet stop, does your body keep going forward? You're like, whoa.
And do you have a brake? Can you brake it? Do you have
that's what I said. There's an option to apply brakes, which immediately halt movement if required. But like, does your body then go forward from the inertia?
There's going to be a lot of accidents in that.
100%. And I also started wondering what happens about bumpy footpaths or stairs and shit like that. But have seen that moonwalkers will allow you to lock them and then negotiate these things as you normally would. I know, which I just think is weird. Like you're going over a bumpy road, you just stop and just start walking with wheels on the bottom of your feet.
It reminds me of Back to the Future. Remember when they had the hoverboards?
Yes.
And stuff in the air, and they'd like be hovering around, like, and we all thought that really cooler. By the time we got to the year 2000, we'd have like hoverboards and everyone could just like fly through the air, and that never fucking happened. What happened to that?
No, where's the flying cars, bitches?
Let's have some flying fucking skateboards, man. I'd rather them than skate shoes.
Yeah, a flying scooter, one with a handle.
Yeah, a scooter, that would be way better because you just hold on. You've got something to put your hands on, and then fly around. Not shoes where they're going different directions. You have to have a little bit of balance on you, like that.
These shoes are also water resistant and have a top speed of around 11.2 kilometers per hour.
That's super important. Water
well, in the rain, I guess.
Yeah, super important. It was like I remember when one of Beck's kids got one of those ripsticks, and I was at her place having drinks with them, and they were all skating around. I was like, give on a skaga, I can do this. And I got in a ripstick and I fucking put one foot on, said, how do I do this? Put my other foot at the end, and then went flat on my ass.
Is that those my head on two wheels?
Yeah, those ones that move in the middle. You know, those ones, like a skateboard that moves in the middle. It's got a bar in the middle. So a front platform and a back platform.
And you just wiggle to make it move.
I went,
yeah. That's what I can see happening with these fucking moonwalkers. So that's that story for me.
Okay, so my next story is washing chicken.
Oh, yes. Okay, I'm intrigued about this one, I must say.
Okay, so it came to my attention a little while ago that it's particularly in the US, I think it is. Like, I'd never in my life. Have you ever heard about washing chicken before you cook it?
I've heard about, like some people wash the slime off it if it's been
Do you do that?
I have before when I've picked it up. Sometimes been like, ooh, given a little rinse.
Have you?
Yeah, just chicken breast. I mean, it's just water.
I know, but I just think, if it's that weird looking, just chuck it in the bin, do you know what I mean? And just eat toast for dinner.
Yeah, and not really if it's weird looking, just if I've picked it up, if it's been defrosting and, when it gets all that juice that comes out the plastic bag and sits on the plate in the fridge
that's just
and
the juice from the chicken, though.
Yeah, I know, but like when it's on that, and sometimes I'll rinse that shit off. Yeah.
Well, it came to my attention a little while ago because I saw a lot of the recipes that I would sometimes watch or follow from US people who'd post it. And look, I'm sure it's in other countries because there's this big debate that I came across as well recently. People would wash their chicken before they, cooked with it or chopped it up. And I was like, that's a really weird thing to do. I've never heard of that. Certainly not going to start doing it because that's just going to add to my cooking time and nobody got time for that, right? Anyway, so I came across this article the other day where there's this huge debate where in the US, so many people and it's ingrained, like their mothers and their grandmothers have washed their chicken their whole entire life. And I'm talking proper chefs, like proper people who, make a living from cooking stuff and making meals, and they wash their chicken before they cook it. And apparently it's something about, the view is to get the shit off it and, make it more,
Healthy.
Get the germs off it. Get the germs and stuff off it before you cook it. Anyway, so then I read this whole article on it. It was basically asking, health experts about should you or should you not wash your chicken, which I think is insane, by the way.
Yeah.
And there was 3 different perspectives. There was like 2 different medical perspectives, like one from germs and disease sort of whatever
organizations.
I can't even talk properly. This is how drunk I am. Like people who prepare food, like food preparation people, the head of like some food preparation industry in the US. And then there was like the germs and disease, whatever, in the US. And then there was like a chef, and all 3 of them were like, don't fucking wash your chicken, you dummies.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I have read articles since in the past as well, where they say if you wash it, it's actually worse than not washing it because
you contaminate it. Because if you're washing it with tap water, there's heaps of contaminants that are in tap water, and also putting your hands on it too many times to wash it is also putting contaminants on it. So just get it out of the packet and touch it as least as like the least amount that you possibly
cutting it too. Your hands are all over that shit.
But then you're putting other things onto it.
But it's same with ham as well. Like
don't eat my food.
My old boss would wash his ham when it get a bit slimy too.
Gross. No way. If ham is slimy, bin or to the dog. No way. I'm not
Pork
eating
is not one you fuck with, or is chicken either.
That was my tidbit. What's your next one?
So this one is one that came up, and of course it piqued my interest. Psychologist warns it's a major red flag if you relax by enjoying true crime stories.
Oh.
So no surprises why this piqued my interest. Hubs and I like to settle in bed pretty much every night, unless I'm podcasting or we're out partying, and pop on an episode of a true crime series.
Sometimes I would love if Tyler would do that with me. He would never watch true crime with me. He hates it.
It's the best right before bed. Sometimes we do 2 and even 3 episodes, depending on the time we hit the proverbial hay. So when I saw this article, I had to give it a read. And apparently, a mental health expert has warned that those who listen to or watch episodes of true crime to unwind might be seriously disturbed. Dr. Bryant revealed during a podcast that those who consume violent media may do so for a very specific reason. It might be because the trauma of it all is familiar to them. She said, if you're having ideas of relaxing before you go to, if your idea of relaxing before you go to sleep is to watch 3 episodes of Law and Order, then I would encourage you to think about why is trauma relaxing to me. I'm like, bitch, we'd be watching.
It's not Law. You don't watch Law and Order. You watch the serious, like
totally. We'd be watching
stabbers.
Your Worst Nightmare based on true accounts. So another fave of ours is at the moment is Killer in My Village, and No One Can Hear You Scream, or Murdered by Morning, and also Married to Evil is another good one. Oh, and Homicide for the Holidays was also a fave, but just because of some of the names I'd give the episodes, like Silent Night, Lethal Night, and Thanksgiving. Dr. Bryant continued, some of us grew up in high-stress situations, so people mistake peace for boring. To come home to yourself, you have to lean into the discomfort before it's going to feel unfamiliar.
Whatever.
Because it's going to feel unfamiliar. And I was like, what a load of shit. Seriously disturbed.
We watch Cold Case all the time. I love like those crime shows. And when I can finally get Tyler interested in one, I'm like, yeah, we're watching it in bed.
And also, like, we watch it and we're like, yes, they got the arsehole and blah, blah, blah. Like, it's a satisfaction of the killer getting caught. Not like,
That's
yeah,
a lie.
they
You
got.
love the unsolved ones. You love them.
I do like that. But when you see an arsehole husband or whatever who's been a complete prick and you see them finally get caught after years or something, that's always a great satisfying feeling. But yeah, I do love the unsolved ones.
So according to these psychiatrists, you're incredibly disturbed.
Vinny and I are both seriously disturbed. and that's only if you watch Law and Order, she said that. Yeah. She'd have a field day with the shit that we fucking watch before bed.
Should contact her. Be like, hey, find her Instagram account. Be like, hey, so, diagnose me.
So we've got these lights in our bedroom that LED lights. You can tap the top of them and they change color. So of course, and we've got lights on our balcony as well that change color. So I have them set for each day of the week. Green is payday, which is Wednesday. So it's green on payday, and Monday it's blue usually because we're blue on Mondays. And
you guys have so much time on your hands. I just don't even understand.
It only takes a little moment to prepare it.
But I would never remember to do that.
I know, it's automatic. You just set it in. And I put it in, it's on timer. So it happens without me doing anything now. But the ones in the bedroom on Monday night, like when we go to bed, Vin will be
what's
like,
Friday?
Put on a murder. Friday's party night. It's Friday and Saturday night is multicolored. And then Sunday is golden. But
and no work tomorrow.
Yeah. And then Monday though, we change the ones in the bedroom so they're red lights, and then we have true crime night. We go to bed early on Monday and we put on about 3 episodes of murders while we're sat there in the red light.
That's the way you want to start your week.
Yeah. Death. What's your next one, stupid bitch? Sorry.
So my second last one is that I saw a concert last Friday night. I went to the Tivoli. Again, for overseas listeners, you would know that, and even probably national listeners. The Tivoli is like this concert venue in Brisbane, which has been there forever. And
iconic.
As my sister and I were lining up, we were like trying to think of all the concerts we've actually seen there. And I was like, wow. I've been here so many times, and we could only mention like 3 or 4 each that we could actually remember, like could name. And I was like, I've been here probably 20 times in my life. Like I've been here so many times. I've seen way more concerts than the ones that I can remember. Great venue, great place, but hard to get to. Not really, a bit of walking, but still in the valley. Anyway, so we went to see the Waifs. So my sister got the tickets for the Waifs, which is an Australian band who's been around for about recognized in terms of popularity for the last 20 years, but been performing for 30 years. She is a huge fan. And I didn't even know this. I was wondering why she got the tickets, to be honest, originally. And she rang me and she said, I've got these 2 tickets. Aaron brought them. He said, if I absolutely have to come with you, I will. But can you ask your sister first? So she rang me. She said, I got 2 tickets to where do you want to come? I was like, yes, of course. Nice. But I only really know 2 songs of theirs, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't know this until we were there. And my sister was obsessed with their first 2 albums, because when she was young and driving to uni in a little VW Bug that she used to have many, many moons ago, that was the only CDs that she had, and so she knew all the words to all the songs. And I knew a couple like loosely, but 2 main ones, which is I'm in London Still, which is your song. I know you love that song, and then The Bridal Train. But I was still pretty psyched to go. It was a bit of a fuck around when we got there, because it was just so busy. It was absolutely chockers. There was a huge fight next to us of all these women, like, just not listening to the concert, and other people just abusing them, and security came, and it was crazy drama. Loved every second of that.
Because the age demographic
there was probably a handful of people who were younger than me.
Wow.
Most of them were, my age and much older. Never seen so many like completely messed up blind people off their faces in my life. And I've been to a lot of festivals, I partied a lot, but this venue, people were just like looking around, like there was one girl was behind me and she'd been spewed on.
No.
It was such a messy concert, but ended up being super, super awesome, because even though I didn't know all their songs except for those 2 that I mentioned, which they absolutely killed when they sung it, one of the chicks who's the older sister. So there's the Waifs, there's 2 sisters and a guy, and they traveled around in a combi for years in Australia, selling CDs out of the back of their van, became super popular, have this huge cult following in Australia and overseas, have played for Bob Dylan.
Wow.
Were like the what do you call it, the one before?
Support act.
The support act for Bob Dylan. Huge accomplishments as artists. But the older sister who was there, she wore a bun on her head like I do. So immediately I felt like, oh my God, we're like best friends. But she was so cool, but also super messy, to the point where when she was singing, she'd forget the words to some of the songs. When her sister, because they share a lot of the vocals, but some songs are one person. And when her sister was singing or the guy was singing, she'd just be wandering around in the background talking to people or just swanning in and out of the stage.
I'm not needed right now.
She told this one story about how, like, the shakers that she used in one song, they'd broken when she was in a show in the US, and then she'd filled them with hundreds and thousands because she had to go on and perform, and she'd accidentally broke them during the concert at the Tivoli, and then there was just like moldy hundreds and thousands like all over the stage.
Because they'd been in there so long.
So I literally came out being completely obsessed. Finally found her on Instagram. She's got like 46 followers and a closed account. And I sent her like a friend request. I was like, please let me follow you.
46 followers. God.
The whole time I was watching, I said to Sarah, I just want to be best friends with her. She's like my spirit animal. I love her so much. And now I'm super obsessed with the Waifs. Like, I just have all their songs on my playlist because it was so good. Like, even though I didn't know the words, and I love being at a concert, like I only really buy tickets to concerts when I know all the words to the songs, and I love them that much. It was still, the music was still so great, and like the crowd just knew every word of every song. Cool. It was a real vibe. It was so cool.
I love that. That's like when you'd go to a festival and then you had your favorite band or one of your favorites coming onto stage, so you'd get there and there was nothing else on before them, so you just go to that stage, and then there'd be some act on there that you'd never heard of, that you're like, these are fucking cool. Like,
and that's how you end up loving bands too, right? Yeah, totally. Yeah, but it was so cool, and I'm so grateful that I got to go. Because they're getting older; they're in their 50s now, like early 50s.
Yeah.
Which isn't too far away for us. But never have I seen so many messed up people in my life. Like, every time I went to the bathroom, I was like, everyone in this place is off their faces. Like. All right, over to you,
my second final one for our joint one is British bloke died in Jamaica after he tried drinking all 21 cocktails on the hotel bar menu.
Weak.
I know. Timothy Southern, a 53-year-old from Staffordshire in England, was on vacation with his family in May 2022. I only saw the article recently. It piqued my interest. In St. Anne, Jamaica. Where he met 2 Canadian women at a bar trying to complete a 21 drink challenge to celebrate a birthday, according to ITV News. Southern had, however, prior to meeting these gals, been drinking brandy and beer prior to taking up the challenge, according to an inquest.
Been there.
I've never really had brandy, I don't think. I'm not sure it's a drink I would like.
I think we call it port, don't we?
Is that the same?
Is it a similar type thing? I think it's different, but like it's more like, I love a good port.
I hate port.
Oh, I love it. I love it at Christmas time. I love drinking it with my dad.
Mm-mm.
It's a very English thing to drink. Like, I used to drink it with my ex-husband's family a lot, like have a little port after with dessert.
And then I'd like those little baby
Yeah,
glasses.
and then I'd be like, give me another port. I'll have a third port. Make it a 5th port, please.
Just give me the bottle. So port is Portuguese fortified wine that is made by adding distilled grape spirit, usually brandy, to a wine base. There you go.
So similar.
So yeah, he joined the women and managed to have 12 drinks before returning to his room at the Royal Decameron Club Caribbean, where he later died.
It's over half.
It is over half, but only just. His family have since criticized the medical treatment he received when they first realized he was ill. Quote, He was on his back choking. I put him in the recovery position and screamed for an ambulance, a family member said, according to an inquest reported by ITV. He was making a gurgling sound. As soon as he was in the recovery position, he vomited. I was shouting his name with no response. A pathologist in Jamaica's capital of Kingston ruled that Southern had died from acute gastroenteritis due to alcohol consumption.
Ooh.
The inquest into his toxicology report, however, could take up to 3 years before it makes its way back to the UK. So even still, they've still got another 2 years to go, even though this is a year after.
That could have happened to any of us in Magaluf, really.
Can
you remember this level of spirits? Remember those fish bowls? And we ended up giving them away to those young kids because we were like, that's just like
burning my throat.
Yeah, that's like just metho. They're saying it's vodka, but we know better. We know vodka.
Yeah. And those kids were like, oh, yeah, that's great. I'm like, yeah, maybe not so responsible, but... So I'm not.
They were legal people. They were legal.
Oh yeah, totally. It wasn't like children on the street.
They were just younger than us. And when we left the table, they were like, "Are you leaving that fish bowl there?" We're like, "Yeah, we don't want it. Can we have it?" Sure.
Here you go.
Super gross.
They've still got more layers of fucking shit they haven't burnt away from their throat and gut yet.
Their kidneys and livers are okay.
They're functioning fine. So I'm not pointing any fingers, Sky. But shotguns have shot, snorkels, sneaking in little drinking flasks to establishments, may not be the best.
Judgment.
No judgment
from you. And I'll have you know that you never say no.
You get me at my weak spot.
Oh, stop it. How many times have you forced drinks on me?
Have I?
How many times has Vinny forced drinks on me? There's a video of him going, "Take your medicine."
That's right. And you're like looking at him like
your old house.
Yeah.
I don't want
it's in your garage.
No, take your medicine.
And you're like, poor bitch, hurry up. You're giving him a look like hurry up.
That's a different one. There was one at your house where he's like literally pouring it. I think it was my birthday. Your old house, and he's like trying to give more to me. And I was like, I don't know. And he's like pouring it. No, have it. See?
Do you remember Fun Time, Vinny? Oh, they were the days. Love you, Pat. So for our final story, we're going to do a joint collab, but you're going to kick it off on the dearly departed Sinead O'Connor.
Yes, Vale Sinead O'Connor.
Nothing compares to her.
Nothing compares, absolutely. And I'm deeply devastated by the loss. Huge fan, as is Nat, massive fan. Daddy, I'm Fine is one of my all-time up there favorite songs. Used to be on my playlist religiously. You know that song, right?
I think you've played it for me before.
Vinny will know it. Vinny 100% knows it. And of course, Nothing Compares, that whole album back in the day. So super sad to hear of her passing, and also her mental health struggles. They don't know what caused her death,
but we assume it's self-inflicted.
Well, we don't want to say that until we know, but her son had died last year, so it's just, I think it's just on 12 months since his passing. He was 17, and he ended up going missing from a mental health facility. I believe he was her second youngest child, and she had 4 kids. And she reported when he first went missing, she couldn't believe that they would allow someone in that type of facility to go missing, like who was watching him, and then not long after his body was found. So super fucking sad. And she had her struggles, but what a cool fucking chick she was. Activism, and everyone's on the media at the moment, just really expressing their condolences about the loss. I think she was 53 or 50,
she was still in her 50. I think she was
53 or 56. Yes. I knew it was one of those. So very young, made a huge impact, I think, in her life, but she probably would never really appreciate that, because I think she felt like she was ostracized towards the end. Because
100%, well, she was a lot really in the media and stuff too, even when she first came out with the shaved head, and everyone was questioning and dragging her for that. There was a thing came up after her passing on Facebook or Insta or something, and it was a flashback to when she sang Nothing. She sang, no, it wasn't Nothing Compares. She sang a song at Saturday Night Live.
Yes.
And I think it was the 90s. I think it was like 92 or 93.
No,
and
it was much later. Yeah. Yeah. And she ripped up the photo of the Pope.
When
and
was
in the performance, in the rehearsal, she actually
92.
ripped up. Oh, it was 92.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. So when did Nothing Compares come out?
That was like 91, 90.
Yeah, right. So she was completely banned by NBC. They said she'd never be back.
Yeah.
They turned off all the voice control because, you know, it's a live taped show. So they weren't like cheering or booing or everything was completely turned off.
Apparently she said they ripped it up and apparently the crowd just went into stunned silence.
Yeah.
And then she had all that cancellation. And then Joe Pesci, I think, did the next one. And he held up a picture of it. Held up a picture of it taped back together and said he'd hit her if she'd cop one off him if she was there that week.
Yeah.
And what she was doing was protesting against the negligence that the Catholic Church had against child abuse, which everyone knows now is completely true. And
yes. And when they did come out later and say, like, admit to some of it, she was like, but there was no apology. Then she protests that.
Yeah.
But you know what I thought was really interesting was that did you read this thing about Russell Crowe?
Mm-hmm.
So he ran into her in Ireland about a year ago. He was in a pub drinking with some people and I read the whole thing, and he put a post on Instagram about it and told the story. The post is on, you know, this is what his recollection was. So he was in a pub drinking with some people, and then all of a sudden they're at this table, and this guy, he saw this woman walk past the window, and the guy that he was with just jumped up and chased her. And then he got up to see where his mate had gone and went out, and there was Sinead O'Connor on the street, and his mate was hugging her because they were obviously friends. And then they invited her back in, and he reckons they sat there for hours, like, you know, 4 or 5 hours just sitting there. She drank tea the whole time. They were all drinking alcohol. Talked about politics, talked about religion, talked about, you know, the world, yada, yada, yada. Had the most amazing conversation with her. The first time he'd ever met her, never met her before. And then when she left, you know, she hugged him. And apparently when he walked up to her on the street, when his mate chased her, she turned around, she goes, "Oh, it's you, Russell." Like, knew straight away who he was. Like, they'd known each other forever. And he was completely like, that meeting just was embedded in him. Like, it was such like a
moment in life.
A moment in life that was really important to him, and the conversations that happened after that.
Yeah.
And then he was just like saying all these really lovely things, and it was just really beautiful. It was really nice. And
I saw another post today actually, and it was one guy, and he was posting, I think it was a screenshot from a Twitter, and it was saying he was talking, he once got contacted by this person who said they had all this unused makeup that they wanted to donate to the trans community through his, I guess, his society or organization or whatever he had. And he said over the course of talking to the person for 2 weeks, at the end when they asked for the address, to tee up time for him to come collect it, and that got the address. And when he got the address, he realized then he was talking to Sinead O'Connor for the last 2 weeks.
Oh.
I was like, oh, girl.
Wow.
Yeah. Respect Sinead, and may rest in peace.
Yeah, 100%. Vale Sinead O'Connor.
Vale Sinead.
Well, thanks for listening. We hope your interest in those topics is now also piqued. Plus, have another one, Skazi.
Stupid bitch. Yes, and that's season 6 of Stupid Bitches Say What in the bag. Make sure to keep an eye on our socials during our short break and get ready for the season 7 premiere in mid-September this year, and finishing season 7 with our annual Christmas special. And as always, dear listeners, say it with me, Sky.
If you're whining. Ready? 1, 2, 3. If you're whining, you're winning. Good night,
Cheers,
stupid bitches. Cheers to season 6.
Yay. Thank you for listening.
Tell your friends.
Hashtag no judgment.
Yeah, that stupid bitch. He's a stupid bitch. What a stupid bitch. That stupid bitch.